Hello everyone, it's Susie from the Smoky Lake Public Library, and welcome to our last episode of After School Adventures. So as I'm sure you know, the school year is coming to an end, so that makes this the last episode of After School Adventures of the school year. And I think I've got a couple of really good crafts lined up for us. So the first craft is going to be wax painting, and then we're going to be doing a yarn eye. So let's get started with the wax painting. It's a perfect day for that for me. It's nice and sunny, which is what we will need for our wax painting. So this art project is really simple, and hopefully you'll have everything you need because all you need is a piece of paper, preferably something either thicker or just put something underneath it, like a piece of cardboard or something. But you'll need a piece of paper, you'll need crayons, and you will need a sharpener. So there are crayon sharpeners, or you can use a pencil sharpener, but a pencil sharpener, it's gonna kind of get a little bit wrecked with the crayons. So just make sure you know that before you get going. All right, but let's get started with making a bunch of different shavings. So what you can do is either get a bunch of dishes that you want to use, or you can just have a piece of paper like I am and pile it. And what you want to do is pick your colors and just make pile of shavings right off the bat, because it's just going to be easier to create your art if you kind of have it set out already. So go ahead and peel the paper off of your crayon, take the base off of your sharpener if it has one, and then just get the shavings going. So this is going to take a little while, so I'm going to get a bunch of colors shaved and ready to go, and then we'll make our picture. Alright, so I've got my shavings here, so now the last step is to just make your art. So what you're going to do is you're going to make your picture, but instead of just coloring, you're going to just place the wax where you want it. And then once we have our picture, we're going to place it out in the hot sun, and it's going to melt to the page, and it's going to create a really cool piece of art that's kind of three-dimensional. So now the last step, is just to make up our picture. I think I'll make just like a flower. I'd say probably start with something simple, and then we'll go from there. So you don't want to do too thick of a layer of wax, so just enough that it's just covering the paper. So just kind of flatten it out. My yellow here, it's really small shavings, so I can cover it really completely, but see, my red is kind of bigger shavings, if you can tell. So it won't get as flat, but just try and make sure that it's kind of just not too many layers so it melts nicely. But go ahead and make your picture, and then we'll put them out in the sun. Alright, so I've done my picture. Now let's take this outside and let it melt in the sun. Alright, so I've got my artwork sitting in the sun. The wind came up a little bit, so as you can see, I just put a little plastic tub around it so that my shavings don't get blown around. But now all we have to do is wait for the sun to melt it up and make a lovely piece of art. Alright, so it's not quite fully melted, but it's definitely starting. So I want to show you guys how it's looking. So there it is. Everything's starting to get more stuck to the paper, and the paper is starting to look like a little bit greasy in a few places, but that's good. So I just have to put it back out in the sun, and then it'll finish up. Now let's move on to our yarn eyes. Alright, so now let's start on our yarn eye. So this craft is just a really cool thing to do, and it's really fun to just kind of keep your hands busy while you're sitting outside. So what you'll need for this is a couple of sticks, a few different colors of yarn, at least 2 you'll probably want, and you may want a pair of scissors as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to put our sticks like this, and we're going to start wrapping our yarn around and around and just make a nice cool pattern. But to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to tie our 2 sticks together. So take the color of yarn that you want to be in the center of your pattern. So it's going to be a diamond shape, so whatever you want to be in the center of your diamond. So pick that color and then just take one end and tie these 2 sticks together right in the middle of them, as close as you can get at least, and just tie a nice tight knot. And then we'll just trim off the edge just so it's easier for us. And then it's like this. So we've got this long end still attached, and then we've got these 2 sticks tied together. If you need to move it around, you can do that now. And then take your sticks and turn it like that. So this is how we want the shape to end up. And so to hold it in place, we're going to take our yarn and we're going to go diagonal. So I'm going to start by going from this corner to this upper corner. So add a diagonal. So I'm going to go just around the center. And I'm going 5 times. And then I'm going to flip. I'm going to loop over and go in the other diagonal direction another 5 times. 3, 4, 5. And now it should be holding pretty well. You can kind of wiggle it around, and that's okay. It'll never be super stuck tight, but we don't need it to be. So once it's like this and you're feeling good about it, you're ready to start the weave. So the way it works is that you want to take your yarn and loop it around the stick and just keep going around and around in circles. The most important thing when we're weaving this is that we stay consistent. So see, I'm going to go over top of this stick and I'm going to just loop, and then I'm going to go over top of the next stick. So your sticks won't really line up, so you'll sometimes want to go behind instead of over top, but make sure to just keep going the same way. So if you start by going underneath, then you can do that, but you just have to make sure not to change it, right? And then that is how you get started. You just keep going in that same way. So just looping around the sticks once and then on to the next one. So just keep doing that for a little while, and then I'll show you guys how to change the yarn color out for. Alright, so I'm happy with my center, so now I'm ready to finish it off. But before I do, I'll just show you how it's looking. So see, I'm trying to keep it pretty flat, but there's a few places where it kind of went off a little bit, so that's all right. So there's what the back looks like. I'm trying to kind of line everything up pretty nicely here. But now I'm ready for the next color. So what you can do is you just can give yourself a fair bit of slack and cut your yarn. And then once you have this cut portion, you're going to take your next color and you're going to tie it to that piece of yarn. And then they're just going to merge into one another. Let's go ahead and tie it nice and tight. Just like that, and you can trim those ends if you like. Just a little bit. And then just keep on weaving same way. And so you can do this as many times as you like. You can change the color as often as you want. And there, see, I just try your best to kind of line up the knot at the back, and then we'll kind of cover up these little edges, these little frayed edges here from where I cut the yarn. We'll cover them up as we go around. So the last step we'll need to do after we're all done weaving, right, is to end the yarn eye. So I will show you how to do that next. Alright, so here is my yarn eye. So now we have to finish it off. So you can take a long piece of yarn, especially if you want to hang it, which I do. So Make a nice long piece so you can hang it from that. And then what we need to do is just finish it off with a knot. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna wrap it around and then wrap it around again. But this time it's not gonna be too tight. We're gonna leave kind of a gap here. And we're gonna go one more time around over top of that and then go underneath and in through that gap that we left. Oops. All right, let me show you one more time. All right, so wrap it around, leaving a space, and then wrap around again and go underneath and through that space you left. And then just pull through. And you can do that maybe about 3 times just to make sure it doesn't slip. But then that's it. That is our yarn eye. Alright guys, so that is all I have this week. This was our last after school adventures for the school year, so I hope I kept it nice and summery for you guys. And I hope you try these things out. The crayon art is great for a hot summer day. It's something you can kind of keep an eye on and make sure that it's all melting. And then, like I said, though, yarn eye is just really something fun to do with your hands while you're outside. But that's all I have for this episode, and I'll be back next year with some other programs, hopefully even in person at the library. So I'll see you guys hopefully then. And also, of course, the library will be doing programs all summer long. So we'll have a bunch of in-person, we'll have a bunch of digital programs. So I hope you guys check some of those out too. All right, that's all for me today. Bye!